set up a web server in this lesson. Again, hardware layer, operating system for that server, which is your web server essentially, and then your website, right? It's not as complicated as it sounds. And we're going to set up what's called a virtual private server, a VPS, which gives a little better performance than some shared hosts like Bluehost or GoDaddy. And there's other perks to this as well. And we're going to use a place called xCloud.host. That's where my stuff is. I love them. And they have managed VPS servers for as low as $5 a month, which is really, really inexpensive hosting. Now, a couple things. You need to have a domain name registered. If you didn't watch the Cloudflare lesson, you need to watch that because you need to set up a Cloudflare account for what we're about to do, and you need to register your domain name. And Cloudflare is going to help integrate all this stuff. It's going to save you a lot of time, as you see, because there's going to be things that does with your website, with your email, that you don't have to do manually. But you need to have that set up before you proceed. So if you haven't done that, set up Cloudflare, register your domain name, and then step into this lesson and we'll get things set up. The first thing we want to do is go to xCloud.host. This is the place. Click Join for free. I'm going to accept all the cookies, plug in my info, and down for Select Service Type, we want xCloud Managed Hosting. Choose Web Server Nginx. And server size, newcomer. This is the smallest one. You can upgrade it later if you need to, but these specs should be fine for your single website. So the total cost should be $5 a month. Click Purchase Now. Go ahead and plug in your information and click Save. Here we go. It should take you to your dashboard and you should see something similar to this. Go ahead and click Setup over on the right. I'm going to accept the cookie thing again. Not sure why it's asking me twice. Click Setup over here and we're going to set up our server. Now, if you didn't see the same thing I saw, for example, maybe you saw a dashboard like this, just go to the left and click Servers, Add New Server, and then scroll to the top and you'll see Continue Setup, similar to what we just saw on the other page. Click Setup. Okay, you need to give your server a name. This is just for you. You can name it whatever you want. And then app type, we're going to do WordPress. Leave it at Nginx for the web server. I already chose that. And now we get to choose where our server is going to sit, what data center it's going to be in. So you can see the choices here. I typically just choose a data center close to me. It doesn't really matter, but for working with my website, I just prefer to be closer to it. It's going to be a little faster. So I'm going to pick Atlanta, and it wants to enable backups, but we don't have anything to back up yet, and backups cost $1 a month on this small server plan. So I'm just going to disable this now. Once we get our website set up, then we can turn backups on. Yes, I understand. And the last couple things, first, the Ubuntu version. This is the server operating system. You don't need to understand that. Just know it's Ubuntu and just choose the latest version that they give you. There's only one version right now. I'm just going to choose that. But if there's a later version when you watch this video, that's what you want. And for select database server, you want to choose Maria. Oh, and it gives us a version. So whatever the latest version is, when you watch this, that's what you want. Click Deploy. While it's creating the server, we're going to go to Settings, Integrations, Cloudflare. As I mentioned at the beginning, you need to have watched the Cloudflare lesson, register your domain, and be ready with all of that before we do this stuff. So if you haven't done that, pause this video, watch the Cloudflare lesson, register your domain name, and then come back to this. But we're going to integrate xCloud with Cloudflare. And why do we do that? Because these two companies can speak to each other through an API interface, but we have to give it permission. So we're going to go to New Cloudflare Integration. It might pre-populate some of that. Sometimes forms do that, so you just want to delete whatever it tries to put in here. Name is just an internal name for you. Account email, API token, global API key. These are all things we're going to get from Cloudflare. So let's go to a new tab and sign in to Cloudflare. Cloudflare.com, log in. And then once you're signed in, go to this icon on the top right and click Profile. And then once you're in there, click on API Tokens. I'm going to choose Create Token. And I'm going to choose a pre-configured template, Edit Zone DNS. Use template. This might look confusing, but here's what's going on. Permissions. We basically want to tell it what type of permissions this API key is going to have. What is xCloud allowed to do on your Cloudflare account? And we want it to be zone. That's what it defaults to. That's what we want. We want it to be at DNS. There's other choices here, but we want DNS and edit. We need to give it one more set of permissions, not just zone. So click Add More, change it to zone. So these two stay the same, but now instead of DNS, we're looking for SSL. SSL and certificates. That's the one. And edit. Zone resources include, I could say a specific zone and choose a domain name, but I'm just going to let it do all zones. Leave this blank and leave this at the default. You could set a start and end date if you wanted to, but if you leave this just at the default, it's going to be effective immediately and it won't expire. Continue to summary, create token. This is a secret token that you don't want leaked anywhere. You can see mine on the screen because this is just a lesson. It's not really going to be a production token for me, but you want to copy that. And once you copy that and go away from the screen, you'll never be able to view it again. So make sure it's copied. You'll get the check mark. Go back to xCloud, paste it in. There we go. Now we need a global API key. So go back to Cloudflare. I'm going to click View All API Tokens, and now Global API Key. And there's a note here. It's saying this has changed. We need to generate account API tokens. So I'm going to click on that. And just so we know where it just took us, over here on the left under Manage Account, Account API Tokens. So I'm going to click Create Token. And so now I've got a token name. It's all lowercase with hyphens, so I'm going to follow that naming scheme. And I'm just going to name it so I know what it is. And then Edit Policy Entire Account. I just want it for all domains. And now we're going for DNS and zones. I'm going to give it edit on all of those things. And then we want SSL and certificates as well. Instead of trying to find that in the list, I'm just going to search for it. Here it is. Edit. Perfect. No expiration. Leave that at the default. Click Review Token. All looks good. Create token. And it's giving us a warning. We're not going to see this again. If we lost these numbers, we'd have to regenerate the token, just delete it and start over. But I'm going to copy the API token. Jump back to xCloud. I'm going to paste that in for global API key. And then whatever email address you used at Cloudflare, you want to type that in here and then click Submit. Now Cloudflare is integrated with xCloud. That was a few more steps than I'd remembered, but now they're integrated. You just have to do that once, and now they can talk, and it's going to save you a lot of work. The other thing I want to show you before we go back to our new server is down here on the lower left, Support. If you have any questions with your xCloud account, with your server, your website, of course you can ask those questions in the community. But if you have a problem or a technical issue, you can open a ticket here, fill out the stuff and set a priority. If it's not urgent, just set it to normal. But if it's really urgent, your site's down or something, you can adjust the priority. And then just give them as much information as you can. Tell them which website it is. You can give them permission to access your server and your site at the bottom, stuff like that. Let's go to servers and see if our web server is done. Here it is, and you should have received an email as well, but this is our new living and breathing web server, ready to go. Shows how much storage we have and how much is used, how much memory, RAM, how much is used, etc. So we are ready to add a website. We're going to do that very soon. First, we're going to set up email in the next lesson, and then we're going to set up the website, integrate the email with that, and we'll get this show on the road. See you soon.